Good evening. Happy Wednesday, my winners and goal getters. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of the Getting the Win show. I'm your host, Melissa T, the procrastination bully. And today is a special occasion, okay? Special occasion. Just based on the description, you've likely seen it. This is the 100th episode of the show. So I'm super, super excited. Thank you for joining me. Those who are joining in the chat, those who have been invited to come on and are joining me for tonight's conversation. It's going to be fun. Like, it's a vibe tonight. The learning that you'll do will be, direct learning from my experiences and from the experiences of the people that are joining me for tonight's conversation. And thank you who are watching, so much for coming along for the ride this whole time. Whether you started last episode or a couple episodes ago, or if you've been here since season one, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Of course, it's your girl, Melissa T, procrastination bully. If you haven't met me yet, gotta make sure my name's up there so you can so you can peep that. But yeah, we on this show, I've had the privilege of sharing with you some brilliant minds who are doing great things in the world. And as I've pivoted to talk to authors more, a lot of these folks that have been on the show are also authors. So I have the privilege of bringing them back on here to specifically talk about their author journeys with you. And, just kind of picking their brain in terms of the journey, and if they work directly with me, like what their writing journey has been as we've worked together. So I've got a couple waiting in the wings right now, but the first one I'm going to bring up onto the screen is the one and only James Monahan. Calls himself Commish. He is the recent author, as I put in the description, the newly minted author of Farang in the Land of Smiles. So he is with me. He is waiting in the wings. One moment, y'all. There we go. Now I'm gonna bring him on in. There we go.
What's
What's up, James?
happening,
How you
Melissa? How
doing?
you living over there? Man,
Hey man, living good, living good. Congrats again on your book and especially your process of creating an audio book, which I thought was really cool. I so appreciate that
yeah,
you logged that
that
journey.
was yeah, no, it was
Gotta
such a
talk
dope
about that.
experience. Absolutely. But yeah, you want to get into that now, or
Yeah. Talk
yeah, well,
yeah.
shoot.
Yeah. Talk
All
about that
right, so
experience.
just overall, it was a learning experience, and it brought me back to my creative roots when I wanted to be an artist myself in the booth, right? But let me tell you, that first session was rough, because I had never done it before, right? So what we did was we ran through it. Like, I just started reading without stopping, and dude, my breath was crazy on the mic. You know what I mean? Like, so out of breath, and just like,
Oh.
the popping, making all these crazy noises. So that first day, we were in the studio for 2 hours, right? Took Homeboy
Hmm.
4 hours to edit the 2 hours. So after that, I was just like, all right, this one, it's going to be an expensive experience. And two, I'm going to have to figure this out. But by the second time I got in there, Melissa, like, the dude I work with, he was so professional and awesome because he worked with so many people. So he's like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go one page at a time, right?
Hmm.
You're going to read one page at a time, and we're going to
Oh.
edit on the spot. So, kind of thing, you know what I
Oh,
mean? And then he would go
nice.
back and touch it up. But man, I was in there for 16 weeks, and that's or 16 hours rather. 16 hours, 8 different weeks in the studio. But we got it done, and it was so cool because the where I recorded at and down here in Jersey, up in Northfield, the studio, um, the dude, he recorded one episode of The Simpsons there, which I thought was so cool because there was
Oh wow.
forget his name off the top of my head, but dude used to play for the Flyers, and he lived around the area. So The Simpsons, they recorded episodes, and just hearing that process and knowing like that energy was in that same vocal booth, you know, and the coolest thing, um, Fuji's, right? So Praz actually recorded on the same mic in the same booth that I was in doing the audio book. So it was just cool to,
Nice.
have that experience and tap into kind of like my hip hop roots and love for the culture that I have, you know what I mean? So that was, yeah, I'm so grateful for it. And then after got that finished, brought in a sound designer as well to, make it a more
Mm,
immersive experience, bring it to life, sound effects and things of that nature. So yeah, I'm just so glad I had that experience. Lets me know that yeah, could help other people do that as well, you know? Hmm. Yeah.
that part.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's super exciting, man. So definitely congrats to you on that. Have you, for the folks who had already
Mm.
purchased your book, like, have you received feedback from them with the audiobook as well? Like, how has the audiobook experience augmented, like, the publishing experience of the physical
So
book?
one, it definitely has, it it to now more of like first you had the words. Now you like have my voice with it, so it's bringing it more to life. And the feedback that I've got is from the people that have listened is that one, it like when you're it really makes you feel like you're in Thailand in some of the parts because I'll bring in, especially with the sound designer, like the nature that out here in the parks, the traffic, the things like
Mm,
that. So the feedback I've been getting is good. And one, I really feel like this can help me get into that lane of voiceover work or doing more audio books for people. Um, because I feel, my voice is definitely one of my gifts and it's something I definitely, haven't leaned all the way into yet. And I think I wanted to get this audio book
mhm.
done. So it's like now I have something for people to reference. Like this is what I'm capable of. This is what I can do. So now I feel more confident about going about that, getting that voiceover stuff. So I feel that's really what um, the book is going to help me leverage in a sense. And two, then I can walk people through the process as well of what this experience is like.
Awesome.
You know,
That's beautiful. And then lastly, because like my folks are my folks are
word.
starting to come on in. But and feel free to stay on the live stream if you want to hear the conversations as well, James. But tell me what that this experience has done for you now. Like you had the print book out, that was already a check, you know what I mean? That was already one experience. What is it like for you now as an author to know that okay, I've just completed this audiobook step. This is now a skill that I'm going to start using, but for you, like internally, what does this mean for you?
Man, it's everything, honestly, because like I used to be the person that never finished anything. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And showing myself that I can get things completed and what that does for the self-confidence. But I definitely learned something. When you get towards the end, I always drag my feet for the last two things, the editing of the
mm,
book and the follow-up for this, because Audible had that Joker for a minute, but I just didn't record the intro correctly, like to their parameters. Like you have to follow,
okay.
specific verbiage that you use for them and say everything, all your editing, the people that helped you. You got to give them all their credit and say it a certain way. So, and send it in like certain format. And I put it off and I didn't do it. And, but, um, you know, I'm so thankful for the people around me because one, as soon as I let some of the people know around me, they're like, "Bro, what are you doing?" Like, gave me the push that I needed to just go knock it out and get it done. And so yeah, grateful for that. But having that feeling of, all right, I am fully capable of seeing something from the start all the way through to the end.
That's beautiful. And I love that because that actually marries like two missions of the
Mm.
show together, like the importance of completion, like
Yep.
beating procrastination, and also the healing that you
Oh
experience as
yeah.
an author, like the transformation you saw
Hmm.
in yourself as you went from a print author to
Yeah.
now an
Oh yeah.
audiobook author.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? Like having your book in those different formats is a growth process and is very fulfilling. So huge congrats
Mm.
to you. The launch party was so dope. Like I love being able to join in with everybody and listen to the sound samples.
Yeah.
So, yo, when he's talking about the sound engineering, it was there. The sound effects were there as he's narrating the story. You're hearing the different sound effects, the nature, the footsteps, like you're hearing all of that. So, shout out to you for
Word. No,
creating
I
an immersive
appreciate that. And that
experience.
was just one of the dopest experiences I've had all year. That listening party. It was just just to see the love that you get back from the people that mean something to you. You know what I mean? Especially in this space. It's so I appreciate you showing up and supporting.
Hey, thank you
Absolutely,
for the
no
invite.
doubt.
Appreciate you. All right. So,
Yeah,
thanks for
nah.
coming again. Feel free to chill and listen in backstage. But for the next awesome person that I'm bringing on, y'all, and please go follow
Yeah,
Commission's
yeah, I've
Corners
got
on
the
Facebook, by
website
the
too.
way,
So
and also
commissionscorners.com. So you can find everything you need right there. Yep. Yes,
yes,
indeed. Appreciate your time, Melissa. And congratulations on the 100th
good,
episode.
no problem. Thank you, appreciate you. Peace. All right, y'all. Now I'm bringing on the one and only Jessica Reed. Jessica Reed Ewing. I was about to add a H. Sorry, cuz. Jessica Reed Ewing, who is the founder of High Vibe Herbals. She was a fantastic like source of refreshment and healing and energy during the Spring Forward Writers Retreat, and she has an incredible testimonial in terms of her experience during the retreat. So, without further ado, the one and only Jessica Ewing. What's
Hey,
up?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
Good, good,
good.
good.
How
I
are
was trying to
you?
connect my mic, so sorry if I sound a little eerie, but yeah,
No, you're good. You're good. We're
good,
loud. We
good.
hear you loud and
Yeah,
clear.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Absolutely. So, firstly, I do want to start off with the high vibe herbals because that was kind of the entree into
Right.
the whole writing journey. So, talk to our audience a little bit about high vibe herbals and what led you to start that company and what you're working
Yeah,
on
so
now
what
with it.
really led me to start the company is um, the plant started speaking to me. So I started to really understand
Mm,
how they were able to help my body and really help my mind, um, that I wasn't aware of before. So I had experienced some life changes, and it really caused me to
mm,
really almost like go through a depression. Um, I felt, just wasn't really happy with life, and you know, was kind of like just being thrown every which way. And I realized I'm like, I feel so much better when I'm drinking tea, you know, and
mm,
so even like with essential oils is actually where it started off. And I'm like, why is this making me feel good? I'm like, something's changed. So then I actually signed up for a class. Thankfully, a friend of mine, she was like, hey, there's going to be an herbal class. You should join. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that because I need to find out like what this is. Like, why is it? It like it completely lifted this veil, this shadow that I had over me. That was like that feeling of depression, that feeling of life is so hard, it's so bad, and yada yada yada. And then I learned that the plant that I was drinking a lot of, which is sorrel or hibiscus or Florida cranberry, depends on where you're from, and found out that that plant specifically really helps with feeling joyful. Found out that that the
mm,
plants, not only are they good for you, like science. Not only are they just healthy for you, right? But in what ways are they healthy for you? It was literally going into my body and like, hey, you're deficient in this vitamin, that vitamin, like just like piecing things together for
Yeah.
me. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like, do people know this? Do people know this? So that is, that's what really, that's how High Vibe Herbals came about, right? Started off with, you know, more so essential oils. And then once I took that class, I'm like, oh, there's plants in many different ways. And then I have a talent, apparently, according to my kids, I have a talent for making tea. Like, why don't you just sell your tea? And I'm like, okay, fine. So then I started doing that, and, you know, just began to, what started off as something that was very spiritual, very intuitive, ended up becoming also scientific. I started learning the ins and outs, the, you know, chemical constituents, all of the different vocabulary and all that. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, for you, those of you who are curious, based on that story alone, it's highvibeherbals.com if you're interested. I can attest those teas work. I drink several of them on a regular basis, and they do work. They're very soothing. They taste great. And I'm glad you shared what you shared about the sorrel, because that actually ties in perfectly with when we Jamaicans drink it. We
Mm-hmm.
usually drink it around Christmas. We over here feeling good, not
Exactly.
realizing it was one of the causes
Yes.
is the plant. You know what I mean? But yeah, sorrel is a very refreshing. It's a very refreshing drink, but also
Mm-hmm.
very medicinal. So yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing your insight with that. But to that point, I would love to pivot a little bit, because I know during the retreat you were one of the people that was like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I was booking me at all, so I'm probably not gonna write anything.
Yes.
So just gotta share with the audience what that journey was for you and what the results were.
Well, it was astonishing. I, that would be the best word to use, because I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna write, right? Yeah, of course I have stories to tell, but what story do I want to tell? What's, you know, how do I do this? And then also with the book that I love that you speak on with this show is the business side of it. Like, am I just writing the book to write the book? What's the goal?
Yeah.
You know, and you and your team covered
Hmm.
a lot of that at the conference, and I'm like, you know what do I really want to do? And I'm like, I want to help people. And, you know, what really helped me was understanding all of these different, like the spiritual connection of the herbs. Um, and so I was just thinking, I'm like, I can just do that. I can just develop this book more like a guide on, here is
Hmm.
what these plants do spiritually and scientifically, just join the two together and have a book for people to go to. Because for me, I feel like a lot of the information is hidden, and so there aren't many
Hmm.
books on that together. And so I'm like, well, let me just join these two together, the science and the spiritual aspect, and, you know, because it's all God. Join them together and go from there. Um, so your framework, followed your framework to a T, and I left with my book, I guess, being 75. That's maybe more like 80% done, um, just as far
Hmm.
as the draft. And that's from no idea to, okay, here's a spark, to execution. And I was like, how? I don't know how. And, you know, I actually took, when I realized, I'm like, okay, she used a framework. I'm actually taking your model of a framework, not your specific one, but having a framework to apply to different aspects
Yeah,
of
yeah.
my life now. Because I'm like, if I have a framework, you just follow step one, step two, step three, step four, done. You know, it's like the best pathway to execution. And it, you know, your thing was procrastination, before, and I'm like, that is actually the best way to beat the procrastination. I know what I need to do next. You know, there's, um, yeah, that's what I could say about that.
Awesome. Yeah, and thank you for sharing your story, man. Like having you there was refreshing for real. Everyone that was there, they enjoyed you. They loved the tea, especially the hibiscus jasmine lemonade, y'all. That was so lovely, y'all. Like we had a segment that we did every night that High Vibe Herbal sponsored. We called it the sip and share, where we just kind of shared feedback from what we either learned during the day or our writing experience. Once we got down to the actual writing blocks and we were actually creating the content for our books, we would then share that night what our experience has been, where the idea is flowing, any challenges we may have had. It also doubled as a Q&A for anybody that had questions. And Jessica was one of the ladies I was chopping it up with. Like we went deep during those
Yeah,
sip and
it was
share
such a great
sessions.
experience. I
So yeah,
absolutely, I loved it. I'm like, this is what you need to write a book. Like it's for someone who has an idea, and kind of knows like, okay, I want to write a book about this, and this is going to be my end goal. That is, it's the best place to do it. The best place to do it is separate yourself from everybody, and then have you as a guide to be able. Every time I ran into a roadblock, I was able to come to you and ask you questions, and everyone else questions, and that
yeah.
was the best experience.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Guys, make sure to go to highvibeherbals.com, support Jessica, and let the audience know if there's any announcements that you can make. I know there's some moving and shaking going on in the background. But if there's anything you want the audience to know about, like by all
Sure, yeah. I
means, you
mean,
can share
just
it here.
to go to my website, I am hosting it's called the Emotional Alchemy Journey. And that is a 6-week journey um, where I support people with changing their lives to become a better person through understanding plants, through knowing, okay, I'm feeling real stressed this day. Which tea or which tincture do I need to take? It's basically helping people understand the language of herbal medicine, the language of the plants, to be able to support themselves. And, I'm just modeling what I've been doing the last few years that has really improved my life greatly. So thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Awesome. No problem. Thank you for taking the time. This is a busy mom, y'all. So I appreciate you for carving out the time to join me today.
Yes, you
Thank you so
too.
much. Have a great one. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Speaking of moms, or well, I'll pause for the mom thing. One of our super moms is waiting in the wings, but I do have our other Jessica, who Jessica on screen got to meet as well, but the one and only Jessica Holly. Jessica,
Hey, I'm
how
doing
you doing?
great.
What's
Hey,
up?
T Jessica. It's
Hey,
it,
Zay.
you know what I always feel weird saying your own name. So I'm like, I have deemed you the T Jessica.
Yeah. So I wanted to get her on the screen so you guys could say what's up in real time. But yeah, Jessica Ewing or T Jessica, as you said, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. All right. Yep. Yeah. So the one and only Jessica Holly, host of the Everybody Can't Go Combos podcast.
Hey, how
What's
are
up?
you? I'm
How are you
awesome. I'm
doing?
awesome. How about you?
Good. Doing good, man. Doing good. Doing good. Thank you so much for joining me because I know you're quite a busy person as well. But I would love to, share your experience with our audience as well in terms of how the retreat was for you and just your everybody can't go author journey period. Because there have been several iterations of the movement and the different books. So please share that
Okay,
with our
so
audience.
I'll start with I guess I'll start with the iterations of Everybody Can't Go first and then go into how the retreat helped evolve that for me over time. So Everybody Can't Go, the brand, the podcast, the movement, the everything actually started out as a book manuscript. And my only original intention was to write my book, have mail to edit it. I was going to put out my book and then I was going to go. Like, just go, mind my business. Unless you contacted me for an interview or to talk about concepts from the book, I was not prepared or even thinking about doing any training, to do any coaching, teaching, any speaking, any of that really, other than just doing specifically requested private interviews. And I ended up getting put in the hot seat while we were at the UOU Mastermind at one of our in-person meetups. And when I was put in the hot seat, it's like, okay, a book, that's all. What's the subject of this book? And once I shared what the subject of the book was, with talking about getting over the guilt and the grief that comes with the changing relationship dynamics that result from your personal growth, your professional growth, from you becoming the best version of you, like our coaches were just like, wait a minute, you're just going to write a book and then go? Unacceptable. And so, of course, I took heed to our coaches and the reasons why we were there, and I was open to the everybody can't go brand being born and becoming a thing and being
Mm,
something bigger than just the three books that I'd planned to write in a series. I was really only planning a trilogy when I first started, but out of that, my speaking career has been born. I've always been pushed into public speaking. So I'm always that person at work or wherever that is like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do the give me the mic so we can go, so that I can get back to scrolling, daydreaming, doodling, whatever it is that I'm doing, so we can like get this group presentation over with. So that was one of the things that was kind of reawakened for me throughout this Everybody Can't Go journey. And it also caused me to take a serious look at becoming an extreme execution coach and becoming certified at
mm,
pretty much what I do for people anyway. I'm always that person that somebody's on my couch. I'm feeding you, talking you through whatever the issue is, giving sound advice, being that wise counsel. If I don't know, y'all know I'm good for. And that's part of what makes me that person that a lot of people would come to seeking advice or to talk through some of the issues and different things that they were having. And through working with you, actually, you always like you throw that fishing line out and you reel me right back in when I'm just all over the place. And as the company started to evolve, as Everybody Can't Go started to evolve as a brand, I started to backtrack a little bit and say, well, what if I did this with my book? What if I did that with my book? What if I changed up what the original manuscript was? And you were actually pivotal in making sure that the original Everybody Can't Go book stayed what it was, that the manuscript stayed as it was originally, and that we talked about exploring other options for future books and making sure that the original book
mhm,
didn't become this never ending thing that wasn't where we started, and that the book itself met the original purpose and the goal that it was intended to meet. And for that, I cannot thank you enough, because we would still be going through new iterations of, well, wait, I want the book to do this now. I want it to do that now. I want to change its intent. I want to change its purpose. And I will say that throughout this journey, you have actually taught me, and I'm always telling other people, y'all already know if y'all ask me for an editor, I only have one for you. He's on the screen right there. And one of the biggest things that you taught me was to stay true to what the purpose of that book was. Life comes at you fast. Things
mm,
are forever changing, even on a daily basis. And when you allow your mind, your heart, your work to start veering away from what the original goal, intent, and purpose of that book was, one, the book is never going to come out. Two, you're going on a wild
mhm,
goose chase that is never going to end unless you're smart enough to have a male T to reel you back in and be like, nope, stop, we're not going there. That's a whole different book idea. If that's the book you want to write, write that book, but we're finishing this one first. And that has been That has been just a set of gems that for me, it was a complete game changer because it actually gave me the space to have that pause, to use that power of the pause, and to actually build and propel my brand and my company forward by taking heed to your coaching, taking heed to your professional expertise, and being sure that the book stayed the book, and that all of the other ancillary parts of the company, they were those other things within themselves, and ultimately led me to being able to build a successful money tree based off of this one idea. And you helped bring part of that to life for me.
Awesome. Appreciate that. And I'm glad I was a part of that process. I think that was one of the key things. And you listening, if you're an aspiring author, but you have multiple ideas in you, maybe you have that issue, you can rest assured knowing that you can always release subsequent books. Like you can create a franchise, which is exactly what Jessica plans to do. Like she had an entire book series within her. So when she was looking to add some stuff, I was like, wait, that can be the next book. Or you know what I mean? Like every time she would have an idea, I was like, write that down. Write that one down. Like we'll come back to it, but let's focus on finishing this one first. And that, going back to the point that James just made when I was asking him about his experience of doing his audiobook and what that meant to him. He said like it was the significance of completion because he was a type of person that didn't used to complete things before. So he had the print book and he committed to finishing the audiobook. And similar to your story, he had people in his corner that were like, keep going. When he wanted to procrastinate, they were like, nope, keep going. So yeah, shout out to you, shout out to Kamish for his journey. Real quick, talk about a project you've got coming up that I'm a part of it, but like there are several of us that are a part of it called Pod Peeps. Kind of talk about that
Okay,
and what's coming
yes.
up.
Talking about Pod Peeps. So coming up this, not this, but later this month on Sunday, uh,
Yeah.
September 28th at 2 p.m., we are live in Atlanta. And for those of you guys who aren't on the ground in Atlanta, we do also have virtual tickets available. And it is for, hopefully you can hear that drum roll, free 99. We are walking you guys through step by step how to start your own podcast. Starting with what is your vision and that goal, very important starting point, and making sure that you stick with that so that you're able to build a podcast and possibly a brand that will go with that or on top of that, so that you're able to start and launch your own podcast. You aren't just going to get a bunch of the fluff and, well, you could do this, you could do that. We're walking you through the tools for actual execution so that if you so choose, and if you come with the right mindset, your phone, notepad, and a couple of other things handy, you can actually walk away with your podcast launched by the time you're done with the Pod Peeps event, and at least have a pilot up by the time you're done with the event. So, this is a 4-hour event, not long at all. We're going to take you through step by step what you need to do so that you can get your podcast idea built and launched. And we have subsequent Pod Peeps events coming up for the next few months. You will see us popping up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You will see us popping up in Houston. You will see us popping up again in the DMV, and making several other stops. So if you want us to pop up in your city, go ahead and comment it here on this live. Leave that there. If we need to show up in your city, let us know. Myself, Mel T, the team, shout out to Tevin of Chop House Media Group, shout out to Izzy Bake of the PSA Mental Health Podcast, and shout out to JR of the Real Let's Talk Podcast. We have all teamed up for a dynamic and very stacked lineup for you guys so that any of the questions that you could have, I'm good for that. I don't know. but I know somebody that can't answer the question for you. So we have a full round table and that stacked lineup for you so that we can get you guys everything that you need, and anything that may be connected to your podcast. We'll be able to point you in the right direction and possibly even get you linked right there in the room directly with the next person that you may need, whether it's Mel, whether it's JR, whether it's editing, whether it's getting interviews or any of those other ancillary services. If you need additional coaching, all of that stuff, everything that you need will be in the room. Everything that you need when you leave that room, you'll still have access to the resources that you'll need for steps 2 through 7. So all of that will be available to you and for you, whether you're logging on virtually, or if you are in the ATL area and you're able to show up in person, go ahead, pull up on us. You never know how many free refreshments that we may have for you. Sometimes when it comes to entertaining, it's a little hard to reel me in. So light refreshments might turn into, look, if they give me the card and tell me to bring the food back, you never know what type of things that I'll be serving up for you guys.
Awesome, awesome. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Jessica Holly. Please let them know where they can
Yes,
find
you
you.
guys can find me on any social media platforms. You can find me at on IG at Everybody Can't Go Convos Pod. You can find me on TikTok at Everybody Can't Go LLC. You can log on to the website at www.everybodycg.com. And you can also find me on Facebook at Everybody Can't Go.
Beautiful. Y'all make sure to hit Jessica up if that is something you're interested in. And hey, as you're hearing from Jessica, this is a drum that I've been beating on the show for a very long time. The importance of having a who or a small network of who's. Because as she said, like once you come together, everything you need is in the same space,
Mhm.
like literally everything. So we're able to stack in that way. Like I'm teaching the whole productivity procrastination thing. Jessica's going to be talking about the vision part. We've got Chop, who's obviously going to be talking about the more technical aspects of it, like the media, his media expertise, and then Jr. Like he's bringing you that accountability that you're going to need. Another thing that I always talk about on the show, the power of accountability. So, Jessica, thank you so much for being on here with me and celebrating with me. I appreciate you. Like, just to wrap up, like, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's watching this who they might have a book in them, or they might even be questioning whether or not they should write it? Like, what
Well,
advice would you
I
give
don't
them?
know what you guys have talked about earlier this episode, so hopefully when I give that advice, I don't boom the whole room, but I will say shameless plug, make sure that you are at the Spring Forward Writers Retreat 2026 so that you can experience everything that we've experienced earlier this year at the first annual Spring Forward Writers Retreat. And also, we have a ton of new things planned for how to get you from that idea that's floating around in your head to getting that on paper and actually getting that book out of you. And not just getting that book out of you, but actually making sure that your book becomes a tangible thing. Not just you wrote the manuscript, it's done, and or you wrote the manuscript and the editor has it and it's like, okay, so when's the book dropping? And just take that very first step. If you have an idea, go ahead and start brainstorming on a sheet of paper. It doesn't have to be pretty. Honestly, on that brainstorming sheet, it don't even have to make sense to anybody but you. As long as you can refer back to that sheet and it makes sense to you, then you can go ahead and use that to reference back to, so that when it's time for you to get in the room and get in the right room for writing that book. You see what I did there? Didn't you? When you get in the right room for writing that book, that you have all of the ideas and the different things that were swirling around in your head, you will be in the place where, and in the space where all of those ideas and all of this stuff floating, you will have exactly who you need with direct access and right in front of you to help you make sense of all of those different ideas, get you a direction that you will be comfortable with, and even the parts that are uncomfortable. it's going to be putting you on a path and in a direction that will help you to succeed. We can't do the work for you, but you will leave there equipped with a full outline of where your book is going, what your book is going to do once it's printed and it's tangibly in your hand, or it's in an ebook format, it's out there for people to read electronically or listen to electronically. We'll be able to work with you on what that book is doing from there. So, in a nutshell, just start and make sure that you go ahead and tap in with Mel T so that you can get to that retreat and get that book out over the course of those 3 to 4 days, that you'll have intense learning, intense access, and every resource that you could possibly need to be a success as an author. And dare I say, you'll be their bestseller. I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle a little razzle dazzle on there. Like, what's the goal? When you write your book, how high you want to go, how far you want to take it. She'll get you there.
Exactly. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jess. I appreciate you. And guys, stay tapped in. You see the information scrolling across the bottom. Stay tapped in with me, and I will keep you updated for when that landing page goes out. All the things like when you need to take the action steps, I got you. So make sure you tap in below. And I will have the information for Pod Peeps in the description as well if you're interested in attending that event and meeting the lovely Jessica Holly in person. All right. Yes. So, Jess, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I always
Of
appreciate your
course.
support.
And
Thanks for celebrating with
congratulations
me.
and happy 100th episode.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Peace. All right, y'all. As promised, I have the Supermom of the Year and author to be, the one and only, Courtney
Hi.
Holly. Courtney, what's going
Doing the
on? How
mother
are
thing.
you?
Doing the mother thing.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
here.
I'm here.
I'm here. Congratulations.
Yeah. By the way, thank you. And I love that you're representing. Like Courtney's rocking the OG shirt, y'all. Like that was from
From the
the
beginning.
beginning. So yeah, from the beginning. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for your support. So kind of talk about what your author journey has been, especially as someone who is a mom. You homeschool your kids. You're a mom of four. So like what kind of talk about what that process was like for you, and did you have any doubts when you were first approached with the idea of writing a book? Kind of
No,
talk
I
about that.
didn't have any doubts. It was just where was I going to start? What was I going to focus on? There were so many things that's happened in my life, good and tragedy, all of it, and then the joy of children, and just growing into that from just being a single girl, and now I'm a wife, now I'm a mother, now I'm a homeschool mother. Like, so it's just my journey was great. So it was just like where to start, what do I focus on? What message do I want to relate to my audience, or what do I want them to know, or let them know the things that I've been experiencing, other women I know experience as well. So there was no doubts. It was just
Mhm.
where to start.
Awesome. So how did, because I know you and I had actually spoken before the retreat. We were helping you map some things out back in, what was that, like
Yeah.
December of 2023. I want to say it was during Carl's event, the Moving Past Potential event. So talk about that process from when you were starting there and kind of developing the ideas. What was that
Yeah,
journey for you?
it took a long time. Like I said, I didn't know what exactly to focus on. And then closer to the retreat, it was as I was kind of mapping things out, I was like seeing a common thread of the growth and that I have had over the years and the woman that I become during each season.
Hmm.
And I was just like, oh, okay. So let me roll with that then, because I know I'm not the only one that goes through this. So let me share that, give my experience and what I did and how I got through things. And so that's kind of what it was. It was just my journey as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, and the seasons that I went through and how I got through them.
Beautiful. So what was your experience with the retreat? Because you were our
Yes.
virtual attendee. Let our audience know, like, what was
Yes,
that like for
even though it
you?
was virtual, I felt like I was there. I really did. The energy, like Jessica Holly
Yes.
mentioned, was there. And again, I was virtual, but the how you guys set everything up, the conversations, what you guys were talking about, the guest speakers that you had, like I just felt like I was just sitting there in the room with you. And so for me, it was very inspiring to hear. It was encouraging, and it was just like, oh wow, I can do this. Like I didn't know if I was going to write a whole book.
Mhm.
I just, it's like the other Jessica. I was just like, I have things, but I don't know if it can be a book. Um, but after those days, I
Mhm.
was like, oh, I can do this. Like this is this is tangible. This is tangible. And I was
Yeah.
like, I made it bigger in my head of what it took to be an author. And it's not. Yes, you have to take the steps, and it's a procedure, it's a system to it, and I understand that. But it wasn't as much as I built it up in my head to be. And that for me was just like, wow, okay, I can do this. This is something that I can do and do multiple times. Um, yeah, and it's
Mhm.
actually right after that retreat, I went to a women's retreat, and it was with another girl for the church. And as we were talking about things, it was a time of rest and rhythm, as what the theme was. And while I was talking with some other women, like it was a common theme that we were talking about, and I was like, oh, this could be a book. Like it was like the first thing that came. I'm like, oh, I can write. Oh, okay. And I started just writing things and journaling, like, this is what this would look like if I would write, like it was like a guide. I was kind of making like a spiritual guide. But it was just something from that retreat to me going to another retreat and having conversation and be like, huh, this is a book. Like I wouldn't have thought that before your retreat. So it just opened my mind to a whole new realm of you could be an author. So I loved it.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, like, given that experience for you, what advice would you give somebody that was in your shoes, like at the start? Like, maybe they were wondering if they have a book idea, or maybe they have one and they're like, how do I start though? Like, like, what advice would you
Yeah,
give to
I'm gonna
them?
repeat what Jessica said. Even if it's an idea, just bring that. Again, I had one idea, and it's just grew bigger and bigger as I started to map out and started to write things down. And then what I would also say, be a student. Like take the time to like learn and be
Ooh,
open to the information, and just all of your thoughts of what you think an author should be, or what, like all the work, like just take it out. Just sit and be a student. Take in take in all the information that Melissa and your team you had, and just grow from there. Just let a whole book open up inside you. That right there, because that's what.
that right there. That was good. That was good. Awesome. So is there anything that you want our audience to know in terms of where to follow you, or in terms of, because I know you're also partnered with Guy with Access Granted, is if there's anything you want our audience to know, or where you want them to
Oh
connect, by
yeah,
all
so
means.
yeah, my husband, him and I have a business called Access Grants Ed. You can find us on Instagram at Access Grants Ed, um, as well as Facebook at Access Grants Ed. Yeah, if you just want to connect, and just uh, learn more about our journey. Um, Access Granted is about, we serve nonprofits, for profits, faith based organizations to help them receive grant funding. But it's not just about the grants, it's about building the community and the people. So that's what we're all about. And yeah, so if you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us on those two streams.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Courtney. I appreciate you. Tell the kiddos I said what's up.
Yes,
Tell
I'm
Guy I
so
said
glad
what's
they were
up.
quiet while I was here.
Yeah, we know
Yes.
that we know how that goes. But yeah, appreciate you. I will release you to the rest of your
All right.
evening.
And
Have a great
congratulations
one. Thank
again,
you so
madam.
much.
All
Thank
right.
you. I appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Yep. Bye. All right, y'all. So as you can see, time has flown. It's already 10 minutes to 7. Thank you for riding with me, for celebrating with me. I appreciate you for tuning in. Episode 100. This, ladies and gentlemen, closes out season 5. Each season of the show is 20 seasons. So next Wednesday, stay tuned to next Wednesday as we kick off season 6. I never forgot the feedback that I got from you guys during the 1 year anniversary, which was to mix things up, have the more explainer episodes, the teaching episodes, but also add some live stream in there and have some interviews. So I appreciate your interest and patience throughout season 4, especially because season 4 was predominantly a lot of teaching. But thank you for sticking with me and sticking through this process. And I will continue to be here and continue to walk you guys through the process. As you've heard from, Jessica, Holly, you heard from Jessica Ewing as well as Courtney, there's a significance with having a system, something that's repeatable. Because once you have that, then you can do it for how many ever other books you have in your mind that's to come. And also, you heard there the importance of knowing what you want your book to do. We heard Jessica Holly talking about that, like having a franchise of things that you want to do with your book. And even with James, like he talked about having the print one, having the audio one, and now that he's developed that skill, he can now offer that as a service for other people who may need that help. So this is the importance of doing that foundation step, knowing who your target reader is, what you want your book to do, how far you want your book to go, whether just nationally or internationally, whether it's just within your community. Being clear on those things is extremely important. And especially for someone like Courtney, who's a mom and is homeschooling, being clear on the purpose of the book, where she wants the book to go, is going to be very important for her in her journey. And it's going to be important for you. But as always, you guys already know, follow follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Threads at Getting the Win Show. You can find me on TikTok at Melissa T Writes. And if you're here on YouTube, subscribe at Getting the Win. And I am on Spotify, the Getting the Win Show over there. So click all the buttons, like, share, follow, subscribe, and comment. If you had any questions, if you want to connect with any of the folks that, we were celebrating with tonight, by all means, hit me up with the comments and I'll point you in the right direction. And the show notes will have their information, their links. If you're interested in anything that any of our guests have shared tonight, I'll be sure to update the description with that information so you can click and support. And I thank you guys for always clicking through and supporting me on this show. So in the meantime and between time, I'm your host, Melissa T, the Procrastination Bully. Have a great and productive rest of your Wednesday and great and productive